Shalom, shalom, sisters. Shalom, YouTube. This is Sister Zion, and welcome to The Rock. Okay, I'm here for a short video. I've been asked some questions about, and in particularly, um, the type of garments or apparel that we wear here, how I dress here, our children, what's appropriate and what's not. Now, I'm not going to go into like a Bible lesson because there's a lot of different things out there. Debate on whether women could wear pants or not, or can she wear pants as long as it's loose, or do they have to wear skirts or dresses? And in short, we in particularly do not wear pants here. We wear skirts or dresses. We follow the same way they were of old, when that's basically the apparel that they wore. Also, we try to make sure that we're modest, as well as scripture talks about in Exodus that the nakedness is in the thighs and our nakedness is supposed to be covered. Also in the Apocrypha, it talks about longer garments. Now, do the research yourself and be led by Yah or your head of house of how they would like you to dress. I'm not here to instruct you on that, because that's based on your conviction and what you see in scripture. But from our understanding of scripture and what we are convicted on, us women here do wear longer garments, longer skirts or dresses. They have to be past the knees. We make sure our nakedness is not exposed, our thighs, when we bend over, because it's not just about the thighs. We don't have tight fitting clothing that we wear amongst the saints or amongst anyone when we present ourselves. We make sure that we are able to move around in our clothing, that we are able to, if we needed to reach for something or to get something off the floor, and we are not exposed. Our nakedness is not exposed. No one can see, what we have going on um, underneath our clothing. Also, too, the way we present ourselves, the Bible talks about too, you don't want to put place a stumbling block amongst your brethren. And if you are dressing in things that are tight fitting, where it is showing the shape of your body, especially as a married sister, um, then you are placing a stumbling block amongst your brethren. They should not be able to see what's in between your legs or up your skirt or in between there when you are married and you are supposed to be modest, when you're not supposed to draw that sort of attention to yourself because your body is for your husband. And a lot of people ask us these questions, and we've been places, we've seen things, to where sometimes the Bible talks about if a man looks on a woman to lust after her in her heart, and how do you think you know women dress that causes a man to want to lust in the first place? So we are very mindful of how we dress and how we look and present ourselves. um Interesting story. I know about I would say it was when I was in California for sure, about 4 years ago. I remember we went to a grocery store, and it used to be not far from our house. And sometimes we would walk to the store. We had a vehicle, but sometimes we would walk because it wasn't far. And then we like to exercise. And I remember I had on a long skirt and a shirt where it covers. It goes up, almost as high as my sweater. Sometimes I may have like this, and I'll have like an undershirt, but I try not to have too much showing. I don't want my cleavage line showing, and where I'm exposing my breast to people or my cleavage to people, causing them to look upon me in any sort of way. I like to be clothed and modest. But what I'm saying is, so anyways, we went to a store, and I remember I had on these long, the long skirt, and I made sure my shirt was up high, and I was covered. And so I'm walking with our children, and how like you can see your reflection in a mirror, or if you go past a vehicle, you can see your reflection. And but on the store, on part of the store, as you walk by, on the side of one of the stores, you could literally see yourself in the mirror. And when I left the house, I believed that I was appropriate. And I'm not sure why or what caught my attention when I was walking past this grocery store, but I walked past and I turned and I could see my full body reflection in the mirror. And I looked at my full body reflection in the mirror, and I can see how the skirt looked on me. And when I looked, no joke, I was looking at how tight fitted my skirt was. Like I can see the shape of my body and stuff, and it was just like, whoa. Like I was actually surprised because I looked down at myself, and I felt like my skirt was, as long as my skirt here, let's see if you can see this. My skirt here, I don't know how much of that you can see, but my skirt here goes all the way down to my ankles, and this skirt is very loose. And so when I looked over, my skirt was so tight. Like, but when I moved, I felt like I could move good. And my skirt was so tight. And immediately when I looked at myself there, I immediately felt convicted and I felt actually ashamed. And I was like, why am I walking out the house like this? Like, how did I not know? Or how was I not aware that I looked like this? And when I looked at myself down at my home, for some reason, it didn't appear to me that there was a problem. Anyways, to make a long story short, I no longer wore that skirt anymore. I stopped wearing that skirt. In fact, I think I put it away at first and I said, okay, well, maybe if I drop some weight, then I realized it didn't make any sense. And I just stopped wearing the skirt altogether. I think I even got rid of it. So I even no longer own that skirt. But, it was a very big deal for me because I was highly convicted when I saw myself in that mirror and I saw how other people, look at me. If you can wear skirts where people are still turning their heads, dang, or you're still getting the same kind of attention you got in the world, your clothing is probably too tight, or you're still probably presenting yourself in a way that's not modest, um, in a way to draw attention to yourself. Okay, so I didn't really mean to go that far into that sort of thing, but I did want to share that. So here we do not wear, tight fitting clothing amongst the saints, amongst the people. When we go out or anything like that, we do not wear pants at all. We do wear skirts. We try to make sure, like I said, we do not show in cleavage. We try to make sure that we are able to move in what we're wearing. We're not bending over and our whole body's exposed, our shape is exposed, especially for married women. We make sure that our garments are longer and longer, and also we're not lazy. We get things done, so you do need to be able to move around. We're wearing these garments, um, and we want to make sure that we are appropriate. Now, I do have, and this is for married women because I've been asked this question also. Do you only wear just those things? Well, I do have two sets of garments, and before I go into my second set of garments, we do wear like things such as like tights and sweats here. It gets very, very cold. I mean, this past winter, the previous winter, I remember in the morning time, it was 1 degrees outside, 1 degrees, so it does get very, very cold. And so we do wear, a form of tights or sweats underneath our clothing, underneath our skirts. We do wear that. We do, our sweaters, our jackets, gloves, things like that. But we do wear tights underneath our garments, and long socks. So if anyone had any questions about that, yes, we do put tights and things like that underneath our garments if it is necessary. If not, then we tend not to unless it's necessary. Also, another thing, we try to make sure that our clothing is not see-through. Sometimes I've had clothing that we've bought material that it looks fine, and then I put it on and it somewhat has like a see-throughness to it. And so we try to have a girdle, some sort of a girdle. Sometimes like a tights, a different color tights too. Sometimes will not show. You wouldn't, be able to tell. But also a girdle will really help if you have something that looks like it's see through. So I hope that helps. So on to that. Okay, I do have a second apparel, and I have apparel for myself as a wife. I do not, when I am amongst my family, my master in my home and not among saints, I do look a certain way for my husband. I do wear an attire for my husband. There's nowhere where I can see, our bodies and myself is for my master. So I do dress a particular way for him. I do wear more revealing clothing. I do, try to look in a way that is appealing to his eyes. Amongst us and amongst our family. So yes, there is a clothing that I do that. Some women have asked that question, and the church, Christian churches, or out in the world, for some reason, they made us, they don't mind us looking like street whores when we're in the world or something. But then, they try to act like wearing something for your husband is like taboo. So we wear these sort of clothing in the streets before we're in the way, walking around with booty shorts on. We got all this sort of stuff. And then when we get married, we become nuns. And we act like we're not supposed to show ourselves um, for our husbands, and we are backwards. And I can't understand that. And even amongst the faith, it's almost like no one really talks about what's appropriate for us to wear amongst in front of our husbands and what's appealing to them. No one talks about how you don't want to maintain yourself or be attractive for your own husband, but we are to be attractive for our own husbands. There's nothing wrong with us being attractive for our own husbands. What I wear for my husband, I do not ever wear amongst anyone else, amongst any person ever. But I do wear things for my husband that is appropriate, that is appealing, that he will like to see me in, because I want my husband to be attracted to me, and if he likes to see me in different ways, then I do so. That's what I do. And it's not taboo, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. And maybe you sisters can also talk to your husbands and to see if he would like you to present yourself a certain way when it's amongst you all. Because a lot of people, a lot of marriages, and a lot of people do complain about this, where before I met them in the streets, women want to dress all sorts of ways for the world to try to be appealing, to try to look a certain way. But then when it comes to their husbands, they literally dress like nuns. They act like, oh, I'm not holy if I don't cover up my body. Well, you uncover your body to lay with your husband, so he sees you. He is supposed to see you. Your body is for his eyes, so you want to look appealing for your husband when you are with him. And so that's what I do. I do have two types of apparel for my husband. I hope this video was able to help someone. I hope this video was able to help someone's marriage, or if you had questions and something that you wanted to know, but you were always afraid. I hope this video was to provide you some sort of help, some sort of answers that you may have had. But yes, for the woman or the few women who asked the question, what we wear here on the Rock, like I said, we do wear skirts, dresses, longer garments, modest clothing, sweats, tights underneath our clothing. We try to stay covered. We try not to entice anyone. We try to be appropriate amongst the brethren. We do not want to lay stumbling blocks amongst our brethren. And then, like I said, we as well, we do have our own separate apparel for my master. I have my own separate apparel for my master as well. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Shalom.